we know that floating dock is only a small portion of the humanitarian aid which needs to be entering Gaza. What about the road entering situation? Now, I mean, those border crossings.
There's no great improvement on the amount of material that comes in by road. And obviously, as we've said many times, it's also coming in by road, but then when you see the kind of military kinetic activity that continues to take place, one can only imagine the difficulties in distributing the aid, both for the safety of those who are trying to get it and those who are trying to distribute it.
And get back to what happened last weekend. The Israeli army freed 4 hostages while more than 200 Palestinians were killed. From the Secretary General, does he think this operation is righteous or not?
Look, it's not for the Secretary General to answer the question in such a way.
But
thank you. Sorry, my pause sometimes are a little long.
I have to get used to that.
Yeah, I know. We of course welcome the news that the 4 hostages are free and reunited with their loved ones. As we've been saying, the Secretary General had been in touch with families of the hostages, and he was in touch with them after the release. And he, of course, continues to call for the immediate and unconditional release for all remaining hostages. I think you've also seen the messages from our humanitarian colleagues on the toll paid by Palestinian civilians. The Secretary General, I think, expresses his extreme sorrow and his condemnation of the deaths of hundreds of Palestinian civilians and injuries to hundreds more that happened in the context of the operation. I mean, we saw now how overwhelmed the hospital is, and our colleagues at OCHA went to the hospital to check on the hospital after the operation. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and again, we strongly urge all the parties to prioritize the protection of civilians who are bearing the brunt of this conflict, particularly women and children. Everyone has obligations under international law. They must comply by those obligations. And our humanitarian operation needs to be able to resume. I mean, our call for the 3 things we've been calling for a long time stays: an immediate ceasefire, full and unfettered access to humanitarian operations, and the release of the hostages.
And well, Steph, it seems now we're entering a gray area or blurring the line, because according to IDF, those hostages were kept in civilian compound. So how can we, like you said, civilians must be protected, but for those people, at least IDF claimed they kept the hostages.
The protection of all civilians should not be an either-or proposition. The best way to move forward is to negotiate, right, and to find a way to get all the hostages home, to get all the relief supplies that we need into Gaza, to return to some sort of political horizon that would lead us to a 2-state solution. I mean, this conflict needs to stop.
Today is the International Day for Dialogues Among Civilizations. Well, how much importance does the Secretary General think the dialogues among civilizations is?
Critical. I mean, we all need to speak and understand each other. On that hopeful note, and we thank Dezhi, and I will leave you in Farhan's hand for about 2 weeks. No, you should be happy Farhan will be with you. You'll get answers, and you'll be on time, you'll be able to schedule lunches, all sorts of stuff. I know, exactly.